Hey everyone, welcome back. Well, today's video, it was supposed to be a cruising video, my next video, but unfortunately the weather here has been up and down. It's actually a lovely sunny day today, but the weekend or the week we were supposed to be going out with family for a nice cruise. Weather was horrendous, so that's been knocked on the head for a couple of weeks until the weather improves. The whole of the UK is being hit by the beast from the east. The UK is strange because it pretty much snows every year, pretty much, but every year it just seems to be a surprise, which is a bit bizarre. It's like being surprised by the fact that you get up in the morning and, oh look, the sun's up. But not to worry, that's the UK for you anyway. So we've had some quite bad weather though, lots of road closures and stuff. So I thought I'd get on with some other DIY tasks. So the thing I'm going to be covering today is actually with sink. As you know, we've got an IKEA sink, and it's great, really good. Obviously the kitchen, a lot of the stuff on the boat is just IKEA stuff, you know. But with an IKEA sink, you actually get specific fittings, and they're quite a universal fitting. I've used them before on a few properties, and they're really good actually because they adjust, etc. So they're quite user friendly. I'll turn the camera around and show you what I'm talking about, okay, because it's hard to explain. Right, that's better. You can see a little bit more now. I've cleared the cupboard space. Another handy thing with this is these doors clip off really easy. You've just got to click a little tab here and the whole thing comes away. And then you just click it back in. So nice and easy, especially in a small space. So you can see it's a bit of a universal fitting. This extends in and out. So does this. This goes up and down with regards to the tube. This swivels left and right. So you can really get the angle you required. Yeah, the angle you need to. And this is fine in a house, I think, when you're going out of kind of a standard fitting, I believe. It is in my experience. This is different on a boat, though, because you go to a skin fitting. So what I went to my local hardware shop in Featherstone. They're really good there. It's an old-fashioned hardware shop that sells everything and anything. And the guy there basically got us two bits so that we could actually, this bit and this bit, so we could actually adapt it to fit to the pipe. But as you can see, because there's obviously the skin fitting, and there's the pipe, which is obviously still full of water, you know, this is the problem. It had to come down before it went back up, which is kind of silly, you know. So anywhere like this, any low points is where the debris can collect. And I knew this would just be temporary, but the debris obviously collects here and it stops the water flow going out, yeah. Where this really should be the only low point, this kind of bottle trap or whatever they call it. And again, quite well designed, because if this ever gets clogged, or I drop my ring down or something like that, or you drop something down you want to retrieve, the idea is you just unplug this, get the water out, and you can get what you want. So really quite a good feature actually. So I need to change this anyway. Ideally it should go from here straight out, or at a slight angle. So I've got a part, did a bit of a research on the internet, and I found a part that's going to work for this. So let's have a look at it. So this is the part that I have got, and you can see it's a rubber right angle elbow, if you like, with these little tightly clip things at the end. Can't remember what they're called now, but anyway, Jubilee clips, that's it. With the fitting on the end, like that one has, to allow me to connect to the exit pipe. And you can see this is a bit of a universal one. You basically cut it to where you need, or it's even got a screw fitting on, or pretty much a standard fitting. So this should, what I'm going to do today is cut with a hacksaw this pipe here. I'll just zoom in so you can see it. I'm going to cut this pipe with a hacksaw here, and this should fit on there. Yeah, that should allow the water to go straight out towards the skin fitting, out over the edge of the boat, which is, as you can see, it's getting rid of all of this bit, and that's the point. I need to get rid of all of this. So it's going to be interesting to see if it works. It should do. Some of you with more experience than me will probably be screaming at the screen saying, don't do that, but this is what I'm going to try. Hopefully it works. Ideally, I wish on hindsight that I'd fitted a bigger skin fitting, this bit here, the brass bit that goes out the edge of the boat. because I could have fitted a bigger pipe, an exit pipe, which means this would be less likely to get clogged. It would drain the sink faster. Hindsight's a marvellous thing. This is a 1/2 inch skin fitting we've used, I think, or was it 3/4? I can't remember now. But I wish I'd gone for the full inch, maybe even 1.5 inches. We might change that because obviously the boat's coming out of the water in May to get painted, so I might change the skin fitting, fit a thicker pipe, and thus I can fit it to the thicker part of this. Yeah? Or just change this bit if I need to. So this is what we're going to do for now anyway. I think this fitting this angle here is a step in the right direction. So we're going to get this drained of water as best we can from here. The water's going to be draining out of here. But also I need to drain this bit as well, don't I? So I'm going to take this off, and obviously lots of water's going to come out of here. Karen's not on the boat today, so I'm unsupervised. So let's see how much mess we can make anyway. Let's get this taken to bits and we'll see if it works. Alright, so I've taken out the shelf here, taken the other door off, just so I can get a bit better access and get a bit of a container under here so I can get any water out. You can just see here at the bottom there, let's have a look here, that's the water filter we have fitted. It's just a jab school one, filters any chlorine out, that kind of thing. Pretty good. That's just on the cold water outlet, so any water we get from the kitchen sink, any cold water, is filtered, and that's where I tend to get a glass of water from, that kind of thing. So let's get this taken to bits. Now I've done this before, and stupidly I've emptied the water out of here. Yeah, it started to get a little bit full, so what have I done? Poured it straight down the sink. Which means obviously it's come spurting out of there before, so I'm not planning on doing that today. Okay, so let's see how we do. I'm just going to turn this. Let's have a look here. I'll get it so you can see it a little bit better. Oh, there we go. There we go, and you can see there's plenty of crud sits in the bottom of this. Yeah, give this a bit of a clean out while I'm here as well. So I think I'm going to need another container, get a bucket or something like that. Simple as that. I mean, really user friendly. Right, so that's that cleaned. Now what I'll do, I'll swipe this. I use the same thing to get rid of this liquid as well. Hopefully there'll be enough space. First of all, I need some tools for this. I shall go and get my spanner. Okay, so I've got my spanner. What I would say as well is I've used these quite a bit recently, and there's a few ways you can use them, i.e. you can use a flathead screwdriver, you can use a crosshead or the old Phillips if you like screwdriver, but I've found that a socket is just better. These they're just cheap metal, and that they're round really quite easily, so it's better to just use a spanner, to be honest. It gives you a lot better grip, a lot easier to use, so that's what I would advise. Right, let's get this off. Oh, tighten it back up. Oh, there we go. Wasn't expecting it that quick. Right, okay. Now, a bit easier than I thought. So that's obviously drained the pipe, which actually looks like it's still got brown water in, doesn't it? But it's obviously just, you know, food, soap scum, etc. And it's emptied this bit, so we know this is empty, so I can start taking this to bits now. What I'll do is I'll just put that there for any drips. Happy with that though. And you can see, just on the inside, it's not very nice, but you can see the brown scum. That is just, obviously it's used for washing dishes, isn't it? So it's your soap scum. Yeah. Just a quick word here as well, something that I didn't mention. I've got to be careful here because this is obviously the bottom of the sink. Yeah, I'll just angle this up. There we are. This is the bottom of the sink here. There's basically a plug hole, a sink hole. I've got to be very careful that any outlet is lower than this, because if it's not, the water will just fill, but it'll stop draining quite quickly because it's going to rely on the pressure of the sink. Where if it's lower, obviously the pressure is going to be lower, so it's going to empty easier. So I've got to be very careful on that. The outlet couldn't be higher than this, otherwise the water would just not drain, would it? Gravity would not, because it's gravity fed, isn't it? So I've had to be very careful of that. That's why I'm going to be cutting it down here, and as you can see, it's quite a bit lower, which should work quite well. He says with fingers crossed. Right, so on closer inspection, I was going to be cutting it about here, but with this 90 degree, this elbow joint, if you like, being a bit bigger than I figured, I can actually get away with cutting here. So this, I'm sure this pulls out. I just can't seem to get it shift. It must be a click-in fitting. So I've just got a little one of these little hobby hacksaws. I'm just going to basically cut it from here, and that means this fitting should slip straight onto here, give us a nice clean joint. So we might as well use that. So let's get cutting. What could go wrong, he says. How am I going to do this? Luckily it rotates to make your life a bit easier. Ah, that's better. Just make sure you can see that. When it inevitably goes wrong, I want you to be able to see it. You can tell Karon all about it. Right, let's give it a go. Put this little bucket under it just in case. Hey, there we go. That was a lot easier than I was expecting. Fantastic. Good. Right, so this should now go over there, which it does. Now, as I thought, this is slightly bigger than this, which is good because this is adjustable. So with it being rubber, you tighten this up and this will tighten up. But what I'm going to do is put some silicone round here and then tighten it up. Yeah, so as you can see, it's the smallest fitting. So all I've got to do is use my little hobby hacksaw again, just to cut the end off this, like this one, and then it'll be ready to fit. So let's do that next. There we go. So I've done that off camera. I mean, look at that lovely straight cut. My goodness. Yeah. I'm sure you can do a much better job of that than I have, but it does the point. It's nice and smooth. So I'm probably going to put some silicone on this as well, you know, while I've got it out. So I'll go and get the silicone and we'll get this ready to fit. Right, so we've got the obligatory sealant, and this is just normal silicone, antibacterial, because where it's being used. I've got the obligatory wet finger as well for smoothing it off, the sign of a professional. So let's get some silicone on this, and then we'll get it on the pipe and see how we go. And again, I don't know if you need this, it's just making sure 100% that I'm going to get a better seal. Any gaps that the raw will be filled with this. That's the idea. When it's all tightened up, you can see you've got a good amount of silicone all the way around there. That'll do. Alright, let's have a look here. And again, let's make sure this clip is where I need it so I can tighten it up. Put this on. There we are. I'll tighten this up a little bit. Actually, again, a handy thing with this is I can turn it to the angle I want, because I want this little bit facing forward to make it easier to clean. Right, so these bigger Jubilee clips have got a bigger nut on them, so bolt, sorry. So all the way around, and you don't want to hang on this. You know, it's not. I've got a habit of being a bit ham-fisted, a bit heavy-handed, so Remember, this is plastic with a rubber over the top, so it's really nipping it up, but you certainly don't want to crack anything. So you can see at the bottom the silicone has come out, which is what you want to see, because, and it's all the way around, because it's just showing you that any gaps have been sealed up, and that, given 12 hours, should be properly watertight. So now what we've got to do is fit this pipe to the outside. So make sure everything's where it's going to be. So I want to cut it about there, don't I? No going back now. Obviously very careful. These knives are so sharp, and once they're cut in, they're cut quite quick. So obviously try and keep your fingers out of where it's going to go. Ooh, it's better. And then once it cuts, as I say, you're in there. And this is a braided tube. You can see the cross sections there. I think it's like a fabric or a nylon, and it just gives the tube some rigidity, so it doesn't kink, stop water flow, that kind of thing. There we go. Fantastic. So that's that little bit cut off, and you can see how it's stretched there where it's been over the little attachment. Okay, so what we've got to do now is get this onto here. Now, this is obviously hard plastic. This is really quite rigid as well. It's really hard, and this is because of the cross sections. As I was saying, it's like a braided hose, so reinforced, sorry, with braids. That's great because it stops any kinks from any bends, which would stop the water flowing, but it makes it harder to get on here. So you've got to warm this up, heat this up first to make it a bit more pliable, so you can get it further on to this spigot thing. Now you can do this in a few ways. You can use the heat gun if you've got one. You can use a hairdryer. I've got none of that nearby. I tend to use a cup of hot water just off the boil. It's a really good excuse for having a cup of tea as well, so what's not to like about that? And it works perfectly. So I've got my cup. I'm just going to shove this in here, and we'll just leave it for, I don't know, about 30 seconds or so until the heat's gone through. And right, that'll do. So put our little clips on. And then onto here. There we go. And then push it on. There we go. And it takes a bit of force, to be honest, to get it on, but you can see how far it's got on there. So and that's tight. You can tell it's tight. It took a bit of effort, which is good because it's a lot less likely to leak. So let's get these circlips put on. Let's loosen them off a bit. I keep calling them circlips for some reason. Jubilee clips, Andrew. Jubilee clips. There we are. So, oh, let's have a look at that. There we are there. So that, it's not perfect because you can see there's a little bit of an incline going out. So I am going to get water sitting here. There's no two ways about it. Significantly better than it was. You know, with that really big dip at the bottom here, this is much better. I think this is going to be a huge improvement. That's on, that's tight. That, I've been moving that, so I'll just smooth the silicone off again. Now what I've got to do, and the key to this is, do not use your sink yet. Okay, I know it's tempting, you want to see it working, but you must not, don't use it until this silicone has gone off, because even though silicone's quite sticky stuff, water will work its way through, you know. So I've made that mistake myself before. So I think it says you've got to leave it a good 12 hours, 24 ideally. So we'll not be doing any dishes for a while yet. But this is the important thing, because otherwise the water could work its way through. It could start dripping here. So you might as well leave it as long as you can, and it should be fine. Well, there she is, back together, everyone. Actually looks a lot tidier than it did. If you remember that bit coming down there, I'll put an overlay on the screen, so it looks a lot better. Gives a bit more space as well, which is handy. I think this is a lot better workaround. As I say, I think these fixtures and fittings are really good. They're very universal. You can adjust them to most houses, that kind of thing, you know, where your pipes are. The fact they extend, etc., and swivel is brilliant, but just not great for a boat. So I think this is a good workaround. These parts I got from Screwfix. I think this was about £8. This was like a couple of quid, you know. So really quite good. There we are. So very much not a how-to video. It's just how I have worked around this issue. Okay, so the reason I've done it is, well, firstly, it's the type of thing I find interesting. So hopefully you have. Karon did say, you're doing a video on the U-bend of the sink, but hey, I think it's a guy thing. You either get it or you don't. So hopefully you have found it useful. But also, to anyone who's thinking about trying this, you know, hopefully you can learn by my mistakes, or it makes you think, or maybe hopefully it gives you the confidence to try it yourself. You can save a lot of money doing stuff yourself. And why not? You've seen with simple tools, you know, a little hobby hacksaw, £1.50, £2, a spanner or a screwdriver or a socket set if you've got one, a Stanley knife for cutting stuff in the parts, and a bit of silicone. Very easy to do, very easy to do. So give it a go, give it a go. Thank you to everyone who's liked and subscribed. I really appreciate it. Feel free to leave comments. You know I love answering comments and talking about all things narrowboats. Sometimes I know what I'm talking about, and sometimes I'm learning more likely a lot from yourselves, and that's why I like doing it. So that's what it's about, isn't it? Community. That's the great thing about narrowboats. And thanks to everyone. Obviously last video I put me buy me a coffee page up. So thanks to Daryl and Andrea, my first ever coffee. Thank you. Thank you to Erica as well, and Jessie. Really appreciate that. It's really nice of you. Thank you very much. Really good of you. So thank you. And again, remember, no commitment. These videos are free to watch, but it's really nice of you. So thank you. I do appreciate it. A lovely surprise. I didn't think I'd get anyone. Never mind 3. So thanks for that, everyone. I'll see you on the next video. I believe I'm going to be fitting the BMV battery monitor, so that'll be interesting, whether I get electrocuted or not. So enjoy every day as it comes, as they say. I'll see you next time, everyone. Have a great day, and thanks for tuning in. Okay, take care now. Bye bye.